Today we're here with Danny for some more tips on dining. Welcome to Dining In with Danny.
So this is a recipe I make a lot, and it's a basic honey wheat, actually it's a honey whole wheat dinner roll. So it's very fast. It takes yeast, but I'll show you how to do this real quickly. So the recipe calls for 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of warm water. I'm going to do this in sequence. Just make sure it's not over 110 degrees, or else it's going to kill your yeast. And then it says, I need that, 1/3 cup of organic coconut oil or butter. Now, honestly, you can use what you want. I mean, because it's going to be melted anyways. So I'm going to use olive oil. And that's because it gives it a moisture. It's a lot moister. We like that. So it's 1/3 cup. Let's see. Yep, 1/3 cup. Put that in there. And I like to do my oil first before I do my honey, because it just comes right out of the thing. And then you put 1/4 cup of honey. Let's see if I have enough. Hopefully I do. Or else I'm confusing.
Ooh.
Well, that sounds nice, doesn't it?
It does. I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what? When you're using natural ingredients, that's what happens. I have almost 1/4 cup, but I am going to stick some. I use this a lot as a supplement for sugars or honeys. It is a organic dehydrated cane juice, which is really healthy for you. So
Really good. It's still a little too sweet for me.
But these are honey wheat ones, so that's all I'm going to put in there to just give it some more sweetness for what it asked for. And since it's going to do that, hey babe, let me see if I can do this. Great about islands is they're in the middle of the kitchen. Well, usually it comes out if I put oil in there, but for some reason it doesn't want to. Just make sure you get all your ingredients. I mean, there's a reason why there's a certain amount of ingredients in things.
And then you change them all.
And then 2 tablespoons of instant yeast. Now, I never buy instant yeast. I always buy active dry because I like to rise my stuff slowly. But that's why this is a fast rolls, is because you're using an instant yeast, and I'm not going to, so I'm just going to up my rising, and that's all I'm going to do.
Well, it also makes it more dense.
Yeah, it makes it denser and a little bit more chewier, so we like it this way. So it says 2 tablespoons. And I'm going to do the same amount like you would with instant. This is I've tested this recipe several times, so I know it works. Okay, so we're done with all of those, and it basically says to combine that, allow to rest for 15 minutes. So we're gonna stir this up. Actually, I'll stir it up with the same spoon I had. Get this all mixed up. There's honey down there, so it's gonna look grainy. But once it sits after 15 minutes, if you did not overheat your water, it should be rising.
And what's going to rise in that?
Well, the yeast.
The yeast?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the yeast is what's going to, yeast is what helps rise breads.
Okay.
And some bread recipes call it for you to stick the yeast in water and let it rise a little bit, especially on a fast recipe. And others require you to put the yeast in the flour mixture But the only breads I've really done that on is like pizza dough and a lot of flatbreads. So I'm thinking that that has something to do with it.
Okay, because I didn't see any flour in there yet.
No. You set this for 15 minutes.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back and finish the recipe.
Awesome.
All right. It's been 15 minutes, and this is what it should look like. You see how the yeast has risen? Now, if yours doesn't look like that, it's because you killed the yeast. You guys start the process all over again. Your bread will never rise.
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah. So the next process in this is to add the dry ingredients, and that is going, so we're going to put this on here. Actually, you know what, I'm going to do it this way. It says to place the dough hook on, which, you know, if you don't have one of these, you just do it by hand. I mean, it's just a lot more, which is what I used to do before I got this for Christmas.
Mixed muscles.
Okay, so it says mix in the salt, eggs, and the whole wheat flour. So the salt was a half a teaspoon, and we're going to just put that right in here.
And we use sea salt, but I'm sure it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, we just try to use better ingredients, but you can use whatever you have. 1 large egg. So we're just going to drop that in. And if you're new to breaking eggs, don't do it over your thing, or else you'll get shells in it. And I'm going to grab a community towel.
Hey, that's why I wasn't.
And then it says, we forgot to turn that off. And then it says to put whole wheat flour in, 2.5 cups of whole wheat flour. I'm just gonna put 2 in for now. Actually, that's white flour, sorry. And then I'm gonna mix it, and then I'm gonna feed in another cup, well, until they say to do another cup of white flour. You know, you don't want to pound, just lightly, because you don't want to pack, or else, you know what, I'm actually going to put all 2.5. If I can get these as close to whole wheat as possible without putting as much white flour in to help with the stickiness, then I'll do it. I'll try to get away with it. So it says to mix this up. Put this on. Sorry, I'm going to use this in a minute. All right, and then we're going to put this dough thingy on. By the way, you can do this by hand. And I'm just going to start mixing it. And it's going to take a while. I'm going to see how fast I can get it going. There we go. And this is the lazy way of doing it. This is probably going to take, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes, maybe longer. So we'll be back.
Okay, so we got it mixed up. And
This is what, well, you can allow the mixer to do a lot more, but this is a sticky, and I like it like this to take it out of the mixer at this stage so that I can monitor how much flour I'm putting in without over drying it. Now it says to feed in 1/2 cup at a time. I put 2.5 cups of wheat flour in here, and it says to put 1 cup of white flour. I have 1/2 cup right here, and honestly, I'm not going to even put this whole thing in. I'm going to sprinkle on it about 1/4 cup, and I'm just going to mix it in like this with a spoon to see how dry it gets, because it can get pretty dry, and plus I really like to knead my own dough. And so when it gets like this, I just plop it on the counter here, and I give it my kneading technique. because you can't do everything with a machine. It's just not, it doesn't mix up as well as a hand does, or kneading. Kneading is great exercise anyways, so why not?
Why do you think when they're cooking pizza, they throw the dough and knead it? And that's what you pay for the expensive pizza, because it's so much better.
I know this looks dry right now, but what we're going to do is what we call kneading. And you're just going to basically fold, push, fold, push, fold. And see, it starts getting sticky. And this is where you can start just adding a little bit more flour at a time.
It'll make you strong. See, look at these
guys.
guys.
Well, I've become a little bit lazy with the KitchenAid because I've been allowing it to do a lot of my work for me. But, yeah. So whatever I can, I try to do the arm exercises if I feel like I'm not getting enough. And I wanted to do it today to show you what kneading is, because a lot of people are confused about kneading and what you're supposed to do and what it means. And this is what kneading is. And this is too sticky. So you gotta just do it a little bit at a time.
And
work it in.
And y'all husbands, y'all can step in here. Y'all can either knead or do like I am. I'm doing 16-ounce curls next to, or watching.
He does them well.
Yes. Well, actually, I cleaned the kitchen.
He did. So this is getting to where I want it to be. It's got some stickiness to it, but that's good because we want to make these into rolls, and we're going to already be messing with the dough anyways, so we don't want to overwork it. So
what happens if you overwork the dough?
Well, for one, it doesn't rise right. It just becomes flat. You overwork dough, and you're just squeezing out all the air and whatever else, like the yeast. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So when I do rolls, I just go ahead and measure them out. I just pull some out. That way you can get them even. So this recipe says 12. Let's see. And it is sticky, and that's because I want it that way. Let's see, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And put a little bit of flour so it doesn't stick to the counter.
And don't be afraid to get messy when you're cooking.
I am a messy cook. This kitchen is always in shambles, but you know what? They get a lot of good food, so.
Yeah, but that makes my job really hard of cleaning the kitchen.
Right. He cleans the kitchen.
I do occasionally.
Occasionally. All right, I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 11. So now this is where I come up with I have extra, and I just start making the ones that I didn't feel were big enough bigger. You know, I mean, there's probably an easier way to do this. I'm sure this looks really sticky, but I've done it drier, and let me tell you, if you're gonna work with it with some flour and make rolls, you gotta leave some sticky to it. So we're just gonna make these like that.
And with the yeast you're using, it's going to be denser, and it's going to be sticky, and it's going to be, they're going to be oh so good.
They are. See, this is how chewy, not chewy, but they're, we like our rolls to have a little bit of a, when you break them apart, they've got that chewiness spread, not that dry spread.
Oh yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Just
So,
and you put some butter or something on. They are so yummy. Made me the thickness I am today.
So basically, to make my rolls, to make it like that, and let me see, we're gonna put 3. This is parchment paper. I use parchment paper almost for everything that bakes because it doesn't, nothing sticks to it. So you'll have to clean pans. Basically, I'm just folding in a little bit to kind of make it nice and smooth. I want some of that stickiness there, like I said, because we like ours a little bit like that.
And they won't be all the same size, but that doesn't matter.
Whatever. So I'm putting 12 in here, so I'm just putting 3 across and 4 down. And yeah, then we're going to let them rise.
And then we're going to cook them? and then we're going to eat them. That's my favorite part.
And I try to find recipes that have wheat flour because we were eating too much white flour, even though it was a better white flour. It still was just, it's too much, you know. You really, wheat flour is healthier for you in the fact that digestive, for one, keeps you going there. But see, it is a little sticky, but you know, you just take some flour and kind of dab it on there, and your fingers can work with it. Usually my husband helps me with this part, but he'd probably just make a mess right now with all the stickiness.
Yes, I would.
There it was.
I'm not doing my job. I'm sitting here, 16-ounce curls, remember, guys? Pitch in. Offer your support.
Alright, so we are almost done. And honestly, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of work in the kitchen. But, you know, if you want home-cooked, fresh meal, there's a lot of quick ones out there. You just gotta look for them. I'm gonna try to put a lot of the recipes I use, but I alter almost everything I do just because I want to add a different ingredient. But I research on what will work and what, you know, substitution, like if you're going to use honey and it calls for sugar, what's the ratio of what you need to do for that?
And guys,
just look it up.
She's going to be working on Chris Does What blog, and so you can see these recipes as we start to develop this out there. And you'll see the video this video as well.
I'm trying to choose simpler recipes. It's just in case people out there who have never really baked or made bread, or that you can actually do it pretty quickly and you don't have to sit around in your kitchen for hours on end waiting for it to, you know, rise and stuff. No, it's pretty simple. You put it together, you leave it, and you let it rise.
Okay.
So we're gonna let this rise. It says 30 minutes, but since I used an active dry yeast, I'm gonna probably rise them for an hour, but I will check them periodically to see. And I'm gonna cover this with a towel, and we're just gonna let them do the job, and then we'll show you before we put them in the oven.
And like I said, the best part is eating them. Okay, we're back, and we've been rising. So these are what they look like.
This was, of course, I did it with active dry, and oh gosh, it's been 45 minutes. The original recipe says to do it with instant dry yeast, and that way you would only have to rise it for 10 minutes. But I decided to just, you know, because I was in a rush, so we're going to stick those in the oven for 10 minutes on 400 degrees, and then we're going to check them.
So let's go ahead and stick these in the oven. I can't wait for the finished product. That's my favorite part. Ooh, it's hot.
Bake time for 10 minutes, and we will be back.
See you when they're done. Okay, guys, it's been 10 minutes. The yumminess shall commence.
Alrighty. So this is how, I just want to show you how I check to see if a bread or something is done. As my mom taught me, you tap, and I know you can't hear this, but if it sounds hollow, then they're done. Because sometimes you're not sure about the middle ones. The hollowness is going to tell you that it's all the way cooked. And they are, so 10 minutes is all it took.
10 minutes. And guys, we ended up with this. Sheer yumminess.
And you could put like melted butter on top or melted honey, you know, whatever. We're just going to open them up and put butter in them, or jelly.
I'm really glad I don't have filling in my hands. So,
He burned himself.
that's it. So guys, if you like this channel, subscribe. If you like this video, hit that like button. It's right down there somewhere. if you like these,
I'll post the link to the recipe I used.
it'll be on our blog, chrisdoeswhat.com. But leave feedback, leave comments, and if you make this recipe, tell Danielle how yummy they were.
Or how you altered it, because I did do some alterations. But the recipe it's just different product. It's not necessarily changing anything.
It is.
Yeah.
So you can make these your own.
Mm-hmm.
And we did. So there we go. Y'all guys take care.
We're gonna have dinner now. Bye.